It's time for the Ruffin Wrestling Show. Here's your host, Michael Ruffin.
You're soft, you're sloppy.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ruffin Wrestling Show. Hope everybody's having a great day. Here to talk about SummerSlam and the fallout from that. I thought it was an okay show. I thought it started out great, then it got weird, and then it just got frustrating. So we're going to talk about that. It's a long show. So we got a lot to talk about. So we're just going to dive right on in. I have not watched any of the pre-show matches as I was driving. I was heading from work home to catch SummerSlam. Actually, I was heading to a friend's house to watch SummerSlam. So I missed all of the pre-show matches, so I have not seen them. From what I understand, all the pre-show matches were great. A lot of people are big up on the Sami Zayn and Neville tag team. They kind of hope that they keep that going and keep those guys together. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen the match, but from what I understand, it was universally, everybody loved them as a team. So maybe they'll keep them together. Maybe it'll lead to a Sami Zayn and Neville versus Jericho, which I would love to see, because anytime I can see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fight each other, it's just a good night for me. I heard that the Sheamus and Cesaro match was great. It's the first match of the best of 7, so I don't know when they'll fight these matches, but Sheamus, of course, took the first match. He leads 1-0, and I think this will be like the NBA Finals, where we're definitely going to go to 7, because, I mean, why would they have a best of 7 if they weren't going to go there? So I think this will go all the way. Who knows when these matches are going to be? So, but again, I haven't seen it. So, but from what I understand, it was an alright match. But kicking off with the main card, first up we had Jericho, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass. This was a typical Big Cass and Enzo Amore match, where Cass stood on the apron most of the time, and Enzo got Enzo took the beat down. Enzo got all the shine put on him, and then got the hot tag to Cass. However, it was all for naught. Jericho picks up the win. A lot of great moments in this match, especially just chemistry-wise, because Enzo and Cass are so good together. But then Jericho and Kevin Owens are so good together that there was just a lot of great moments here in this match. Kind of a botchy ending in that Enzo didn't, or Chris Jericho didn't get all of the code breaker. It was like Enzo hit him with half of a code breaker, but they still called that the finish. So Enzo Amore takes a code breaker for the finish, and Jericho picks up the win. Next up we had Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. Again, when these two get in the ring, it's usually always magic. But unfortunately, if you fight each other over and over and over and over again, eventually one time you're going to have a misstep, and you're going to have kind of a sloppy match. And that was this match. There was the terrifying spot where Charlotte obviously messed up and dropped Sasha over by the turnbuckle, and she landed on her head. Then there was a moment where she looked like she was going to pick up Sasha, and she just slipped. And she landed on her feet, but even they kind of exchanged a moment of what just happened. And there was some confusion there, a little miscommunication going on. This, like I said, this was not their best match. Their match on Raw, where Sasha won the title, was the better match. And that included the crazy, we thought Sasha might have died, suicide dive, where she, again, landed on her head. I can see now where the rumor that Vince McMahon likes Sasha, but she thinks she only has one speed, and that she's very injury prone. I can understand and totally get behind that now, because while the turnbuckle spot was Charlotte's fault, she dropped her. I don't know what she was going for. I don't know if she was trying to put her up on the turnbuckle to do some knee stuff. I don't know what she was doing, but where she just dropped Sasha, and then her legs hit the rope, and then she went topside under and landed on her head. the crowd completely dropped off after this because, well, again, we thought Sasha was hurt. But the finish here, Charlotte, Sasha got Charlotte in a bank statement. I honestly thought this was going to be the end. I thought we were going to get a tap out from Charlotte, but Charlotte rolled it over into a pin and picks up the win. And the rumor is there's a few different things going out there. The first one is that Sasha is going to get hit with a 30-day wellness violation. I don't think that's true. I honestly don't think that's true, and I think that's kind of shitty that the IWC and the marks out there that all have podcasts like me or they run blogs or whatever to put that even out there. You know, and even I, you know, told people it's like it's a rumor that it's going to happen, but come to find out, I don't think it's true because she is hurt. She's got a back injury, but the good news is she doesn't have to require surgery, so she's only going to be out around a month. So we're going to get Sasha back sooner than we hoped. The same is not for Finn Balor, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. And hopefully Sasha gets back in the title picture. If you watched Raw last night, you know that Bayley debuted on Raw last night. I honestly thought they were going to put Bayley on SmackDown because I felt that SmackDown needs a marquee big name like that. They need somebody that's well over with the fans. They need putting Bayley on SmackDown would give them people to watch SmackDown because SmackDown ratings have not gone through the roof like they hoped they would. And I felt that Bayley would be more of a, not that she would be a better fit on SmackDown. Raw needs women. Especially women like, you know, Bayley because she's worked with Charlotte, Dana Brooke, Sasha Banks, and Nia Jax. So she, you know, you've got somebody there that has chemistry with your four big people. But when you look at the women that are on SmackDown, there's no real big name banner. Like Becky Lynch is like their top woman right now. And not saying that Becky Lynch can't be the top woman in a division because I love Becky Lynch. But I felt that Bayley would be more needed on SmackDown. It was kind of put Bayley where she was needed and not where she looked the best. But they put her on Raw, and it looks like they might be putting her into the title picture, which I got no problems with, I guess, really. But Charlotte defeats Sasha Banks at SummerSlam. And like I said, Sasha, is going to be off TV and off WWE Live for like the next month, dealing with an injury. She also just got married, so maybe she'll take some time off to go relax on a beach somewhere, for her honeymoon, who knows. But Charlotte picks up the title again. So who knows how long she'll have it. Maybe it won't be as long this time. And we'll have to see, especially with the return of Nikki Bella, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So who knows how long they might, since Nikki, had to give up her title for injury. So who knows how long it'll be before Nikki gets a shot at being the women's champion again, since, she only lost it because she was hurt. So let's see what they do there. Next up, we had The Miz with Maurice, of course, versus Apollo Crews. This was a quick match, only 6 minutes. Very odd paced, very oddly put. It just felt rushed. To me, it felt rushed. It felt that it wasn't given the time that it was, and it just didn't have a chance to really open up and become something great. I really think that they are leading towards Miz not being Intercontinental Champion. I just think they're trying out, different guys to see who is going to be the best one to take it. They tried it with Darren Young. He really wasn't the greatest fit. They've now tried it with Apollo Crews, and he's doing better than Darren Young, but he's still, again, not, the greatest one, to possibly take it. So who knows what they're going to do. I think Miz is kind of holding on to it till they figure it out. So that's why he goes into a feud with different people. They get like a pay-per-view or two, and then they move on to somebody else. So maybe they'll give Apollo Crews one more pay-per-view to see if he kind of fits and is the right guy to take that title. Maybe, they don't. Who knows what they're going to do with that. This ended with Apollo Crews going in for, I believe it was a corner spear or something like that, something along those lines. Miz moved out of the way, and Apollo Crews, ran into the post, and then Miz hit him with the skull crushing finale and got the pin. So who knows what I would like to see Bray Wyatt. I know he's been hurt or whatever's been happening. Bray Wyatt versus Miz Intercontinental Championship, I think would be a great feud, and I think Bray could possibly be the one to take the title off him and be that guy that can carry the Intercontinental Championship for a while. Because I know a lot of internet fans, a lot of marks have said, the Intercontinental Championship doesn't mean anything. If you want to talk about titles that don't mean anything, we're going to talk about that one in a second. But the Intercontinental Championship does mean something. It's a great mid-level title for somebody that's maybe not ready to carry a big title yet, or somebody that's not in that picture that can carry that and then move on with it. For me, Dolph Ziggler is a great Intercontinental Champion. Obviously, they're going to try and push him as a bigger name on SmackDown, but I thought that he was a great Intercontinental Champion, and he could be another one again. If maybe after this whole thing with Dean is over, they want to put him back into it, I think that'd be okay. And then you let him run with it for a while. Don't take it away from him after a month or, 2 or whatever. So let him run for a while. Miz has had it now for, 4 months? A little over 4 months? Since Monday night after WrestleMania. So, about 4 months. So, that's about the time with the Intercontinental Championship. Intercontinental Championship's not the title that you have on somebody for, 6 months, 8, 10 of a year. It's not really that title. So for me, I think they're really trying to test out who could be the one to take that title off of Miz. Honestly, if you really wanted to be smart, you do it with like Baron Corbin. I know a lot of fans don't like him, but they want to push him. They want to make him a thing. They want to make him a big monster guy on SmackDown. So give it to Baron Corbin. To me, that's that's what you do there. Next up, we have AJ Styles and John Cena in what was by far match of the night. These guys just really brought it. Because we had the whole idea with, AJ Styles saying that, he's in WWE now. He came here. He's got to beat the top guy. He's got to go through the top guy so that he can be the top guy. And then you got Cena who, said, if things don't work out, AJ will go work somewhere else, which, of course, if you have not seen Daniel Bryan, kind of shot on Cena for a little bit. Probably not a real shoot, but it rumored that Daniel Bryan was actually kind of offended at what Cena said because, like AJ, Daniel Bryan went through multiple companies, multiple times to get to and back to WWE. So Cena hasn't done that. Cena came through WWE Developmental and OVW. He went to the main roster, and that's been it. He's never worked in Japan. He's never worked Ring of Honor. He's never worked at Evolve. He's never worked in Indy. He's never had to do that. He spent literally the 15 years of his career all in the same place, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with that, I guess. So, you've got that whole thing with AJ versus Cena, and these guys really brought this match. They really did a great, great, great job. With this match, AJ Styles beat John Cena clean in the ring. Of course, after the match, Cena took off his Never Give Up band and left it in the ring. And now, of course, people are talking about, is this the beginning of the Cena retirement tour? Like, no, it's not the beginning of the Cena retirement tour. Cena is very clearly going to become a part-timer. Maybe he'll work more than Brock, but he's already gone off house shows. He's going to be off SmackDown a lot more, and he's going to be really on pay-per-views. That's pretty much what he's going to do. He's going to come and he's going to go. He's going to come in and he's going to do his thing, and then he's going to go off. And he's going to come in, do a thing, and go off. And that's fine because he's got so much going on. He's a great television host. He's got his whole thing. He's doing movies. He's got American Grit's got another season coming up that he's got to go film. Maybe that's why he's taking this time off. But he's really become the John Cena brand. He's become he's not just John Cena the wrestler, he is John Cena the man. And John Cena the man has more to do outside of WWE than he does in WWE, and I don't blame this guy for going off and doing something to make a name for himself. I don't blame him at all. I don't think he's going to be hanging it up in WWE anytime soon. I think if anything, he'll just go part-time and come in and do his thing when he's got to, and then he'll go off and do, everything else when he doesn't. So for me, I don't mind seeing Cena kind of come and go. I don't hate Cena. I'm unlike a lot of IWC and a lot of marks. I don't hate Cena. I don't chant "Let's go Cena," but then again, I also don't chant "Cena sucks." To me, Cena is entertaining. He's Hogan of the new generation. To me, that's what he is. He's the Hogan for this generation. Remember in the 80s when every kid in Madison Square Garden, every kid in every podunk arena, around the country had on the yellow and the red and the Hulkamania stuff. I did it. I had Hulkamania stuff. I had Hulk Hogan action figures, Hulk Hogan wrestling buddies, Hulk Hogan lunchbox. Man, I was a Hogan fan. And just like every kid now is a Cena fan. You look out there and you see all these kids dressed just like Cena because they went to the merchandise, table and they bought the armband and they bought the towel and they bought the t-shirt, they bought the hat. The kid puts on some jean shorts and throws up the three fingers, and he's to him, he's just like Cena. And that doesn't bother me. That's fine. Kids need a role model, and, Cena's a great role model to have. So for me, I don't mind that Cena's going off and doing his own branding thing. That really doesn't bother me. So for me, they did it right here. AJ stays here. Cena goes home. AJ needed to get this win here, and you open up this whole thing of, well, what's going to happen with Cena now? So I don't mind. I didn't mind this. Some people, a lot of Cena fans obviously were mad that, Cena didn't win. But, it's okay. Sorry, my phone there. It's okay. I think it's fine. AJ stays here and Cena goes away. So now you can put now you can put Styles in a title picture. You can maybe put him up against Dean. Maybe you can put him up against Miz. Hey, try it out, see what happens. I don't think people would be upset with AJ Styles as an Intercontinental Championship or champion, and I don't think they'd be mad with him being the WWE champion either. So I think it's time to put a title on AJ, and I think that's what they're going to be focusing on now. Who he goes against, I don't know. Next up, we had Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, the Club, versus The New Day with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They were accompanied by Jon Stewart, who kind of did a silly kind of thing in the ring. I think he just had some rough material. The crowd really didn't seem behind him. This was for Brooklyn, it was a very rough crowd. They are typically a very good wrestling crowd. Obviously, they're big on NXT because of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and Brooklyn 2. So for me, this crowd was very weird during SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam's a weird night because the main card is up to 4 hours long. Then you got 3 or 4 shows on the pre-show, which adds another hour. That's 5 hours. That's a long time. And you got a lot of people that were there late the night before with NXT TakeOver. So I think this crowd was kind of restless. I think this crowd was, poor SummerSlam kind of got the bad end of the deal. Maybe, an idea is to put TakeOver on Friday night instead of Saturday, and you give fans a night off in between the two events to kind of rest up, recharge, and get psyched. Because I think they came into SummerSlam already, impressed by TakeOver and how amazing TakeOver was. And then you brought them into SummerSlam where it was just kind of an odd night. So they were just not really, they weren't really behind anything. I think they actually booed Jon Stewart a little bit. They just weren't feeling a lot of this night. But anyway, talking about the match, it was an okay match. They got 10 minutes. So it was very, for having, to come off. First off, you had to come off the AJ Styles and John Cena match, which almost went in a half hour. It went 23 minutes. So coming off of that, they were almost in a death spot because the crowd was, had to come down from that match. And some people maybe broke off to go to the concession stand or go get something, go to the bathroom, go to the merch table. So they kind of took that break, I think. So I think that was another thing that was kind of down with this match because the crowd just wasn't really into this match. This one ends with a DQ. New Day actually, or the Club actually wins by DQ because Big E returned, came down, and jumped on Anderson and Gallows when they were going to give Jon Stewart the ring post treatment like they did Big E, but he came down, got in all his big moves on Anderson and Gallows, so maybe they're going to set up something there. Next up, we had... Oh, this is where things got weird. We had the WWE World Championship match. Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler in the middle of the card. Very, very weird. Very odd placement for this. This SummerSlam had a weird flow to it. It felt like matches just weren't in the right spot. Like they just didn't fit where they were. This got put just in the middle of the card, and they got 15 minutes, but they just, I don't know. It felt like a SmackDown match. It felt like a match that could have been, like I said, on SmackDown or Raw. It felt very just, I don't know, it kind of confused. I'm doing the confused puppy head tilt right now because it just didn't, I don't know, Dolph really didn't get going like he usually does. We never really got to see Dean, take off and do his thing. They just kind of worked whatever kind of average match for 15 minutes, and Dean hit Dirty D's at the end and picked up the victory. That's how that went down. It was very weird. They, I talked earlier about everybody talking about the IC title being meaningless and being useless. The WWE World Championship, which 2 months ago was the massive, belt, and now it's the who gives a crap. Because you literally just made it a mid-card title because you put it in a pay-per-view that had, it had 10 matches on its main card. You literally put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you put it 6th. Oh, so upper mid-card title. Then you put it dead in the center of the card. And it was very just weird. Very, very weird. But Dean Ambrose retains, which I guess we can all be happy about that. This match just felt like it had a great build-up with all the great promos and all the great in-ring stuff between the two of these guys, and then the night came, and it was just like, do whatever. Dean retains, but we don't really care what you do. And it just didn't, it didn't work. It didn't flow, and just, it felt out of place because it was, and it just didn't, it didn't click. Next up, we had the 6-woman tag between Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella, and Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and the returning Nikki Bella, who replaced Ava Marie due to her wellness violation, which they did a great little thing here with. They had everybody enter, and then they played Eva Marie's entrance. But of course, unless you're under a rock or you don't really follow wrestling news, you knew she's suspended. And at the end of her little voiceover thing, which I love, by the way, I may be the only person in the world that loves this, but I do. Mostly because it means I get to look at Ava Marie, but I don't have to watch her try to wrestle. So maybe that makes me shallow and misogynistic and kind of a pig, but who cares? It's, she's good to look at, but I don't want to watch her wrestle. So there you go. Anyway, so they did this whole thing, and then at the end, he said Ava Marie's not there because she's exhausted, so she's vacationing in Europe. And then they announced her replacement, and out comes Nikki Bella, which I was happy to see Nikki back. I don't know if this means they're going to make her heel or what they're going to do, since they had her team with the heels. Maybe they'll sort that out tonight on SmackDown. Maybe she'll come out and they'll think she's going to be heel, but then, she turns on somebody and maybe sets up her first program with somebody. Or maybe, again, they will actually make her a heel and she'll get some great stuff with maybe Becky Lynch or Carmella. Naomi had the goofy looking ring gear on. The whole entrance is kind of weird and epileptic seizure-y. It's very, I don't know, they call it Tron-y, which I get. It does look very Tron. Like it's all black light and glowy, and you can't tell who the person is until she gets down there. And if you're unfamiliar with who Naomi is, you wouldn't know who she was until she gets in the ring. But her whole bodysuit is like checkered and really loud and bright, and it's just, it's just, and she's still trying to get that whole "feel my glow" thing going off. I don't know. It's very ravey and just kind of ugh. if they're going to keep that, they need to give her new music. They need to give her something some EDM type thing that actually fits that whole entrance, that whole gimmick. So, the heels pick up the win. Nikki Bella hit Carmella with the forearm, and then she does a modified rack attack where she puts you up in kind of the rack attack, but then she kind of turns it into an RKO type deal. So I think they called it the TKO, which, okay, sure, I guess. They could get a better name for that. But, she's not doing the rack attack because, that's what actually was giving her the neck injuries that almost ended her career. So I'm glad she's doing something similar, or something familiar, but something different. Obviously, she needed to change that so that she could continue being a wrestler. Whether she's going to be part-time or full-time, who knows? But, because again, she's kind of like Cena. She does a lot outside of the ring. She's got Total Bellas. She does a lot of modeling. She does all this stuff. So she's got a brand. The Bellas have a brand as well, so maybe she'll do kind of the same thing where she kind of comes and goes in and out of WWE, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with. Next up, we had Finn Balor and Seth Rollins for the WWE Universal Championship. There was a weird spot in this where I was trying to think what Seth had him in a submission. I think it was a triangle maybe, and Finn got his leg or his arm up on the rope, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's no DQ." And I was like, "When did this match become no DQ?" Oh, no, it's because it's for a new title, and they definitely needed to have a winner. So it was pinfall and submission only, because they wanted a clear winner. Since this is a new title, a new champion, they wanted somebody to definitely walk out without any confusion. So once they cleared that up, because they didn't really do a good job of clearing that up to begin with. So once they cleared that up, it, made sense. Good match. Great match, actually. I really, really enjoyed it. Again, the crowd was booing this belt. They kept chanting, "This belt sucks." They really just, turned on this match. And it was unfair to Finn and Seth, because Finn and Seth were doing great stuff in the ring, and I feel like the crowd wasn't focusing on that. They were focusing on the ugly belt, apparently, which I don't think is that ugly. I don't really like it that it's red. I don't like the fact that it looks just like the other titles. Is that how this is going to be now? Like, are we just going to redesign all the titles to look the same? I don't really like that. I think it's lazy. You can do a lot of other stuff. Some people are calling this belt the fruit by the foot belt, which I think is really funny. But I don't hate this belt. It's what it is. It's, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what the title looks like. It matters about who's got it and what they're doing with it. So fans need to get over what the belt looks like and stop worrying about this stupid petty crap like that. That's dumb. Don't focus on little crap like that. If you're focusing on crap like that, then you're just looking for reasons to be mad. You're looking for reasons to complain and get online and, type out how frustrated and how angry you are and how you do it better. And, and maybe I'm making, kind of a faux pas of myself here, because here I am, a fan with a podcast and talking, and sometimes I talk about things I don't like, and sometimes I talk about things I do, and, I like to think I talk about more things that I do like than I don't, but sometimes I do get kind of bitchy and whiny and complaining, and I get that. But this is something that, I think it's just kind of stupid to complain about, because it doesn't matter what the title looks like. It matters about who's got it and what they're doing with it. So for me, it really didn't matter with this belt. Unfortunately, if you watched SummerSlam, I didn't catch it when I watched it live, but I saw it later on when WWE released a video. But Finn Balor got hurt during the match, and I didn't see it live, but it was when Seth did the barricade powerbomb, and it looked like Finn's shoulder got dislocated, and he relocated it himself on the spot right there on the floor. You can actually see him do it. He throws it into the barricade, then he hits the ground, and he pulls his arm. He starts pulling his arm because he's putting his shoulder back into place. But it was apparently not just a dislocation. He's got some type of tear in his shoulder, and he's going to miss 4 to 6 months. So last night on Raw, he relinquished his title not even 24 hours after he won it, which I'm kind of bummed about. I'm sad that it means we won't see Finn Balor for 4 to 6 months. But if you do the math, 4 to 6 months, 4 months, he'll be back for Survivor Series. 6 months, Royal Rumble. So it's... if Finn was going to have a 4 to 6 month injury, he picked a great time to do it because, not that he actually got to pick, but it happened at an ideal time because he'll be back for Rumble, he'll be back for Mania, depending on what they do with this title. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it goes to Kevin Owens, because maybe it'll set up a Finn Balor, Kevin Owens program around Rumble, maybe Mania time. For me, I think that's kind of just the best way to go with this, and I would really like to see that. Next up, we had Rusev with Lana versus Roman Reigns, which ended in a no contest, never got started. Because during Roman's entrance, Rusev attacked him. They got out to the outside, started beating the hell out of each other. Roman really kind of got the better of him. Ended with a spear on the ramp. After they got separated, by the way. He got separated and pretty much was on his way to the back, and then came back and hit him with a spear. Very heel, very dirty work from Roman, which I thought the crowd, again, they booed, but whatever. I think now it doesn't matter what they do with him. They're going to boo it. It just doesn't matter. Anytime he's out, anytime he's on the TV, anytime he's out in the ring, they're just going to boo it. They're going to chant "We want Slater." They're going to boo him. It's whatever. But for me, I've actually been enjoying this whole almost ruthless aggression, frustration from Roman. I've been enjoying him since he came back from the wellness violation, because he came back. It's almost been like he's come back angry, and he's come back with a new reason to fight, and it's an angrier, more frustrated, aggressive type of wrestling. He fights harder. He does more, and for me, I've been enjoying that. Now, does that mean that I want to see Roman in main events and carry titles? Absolutely not. It just means that when he's out there, I kind of wait and see what they do with it and judge based off what they do in that segment, whether or not it was, a good segment or kind of a wasted thing of them just trying to get Roman on TV. I felt that SummerSlam, I felt that this one was a great moment because you almost kind of double turned Rusev and Roman, because you had Roman really beat down the heel so much that he turned in face, and like I said, with the whole separation thing, and then he came back for the spear, and the blatant disregard for medical team and refs and officials, and I enjoyed that. I really wish they had gone into an actual match, but obviously, that was not the plan. They're not going to take the U.S. Championship off Rusev anytime soon, and they definitely aren't going to do it with Roman, so they had to kind of figure out how they were going to do that this time. So, they did what they did. It was very dusty finish, but whatever. To me, it didn't really matter. And next up, we had our main event, which was Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. Again, I felt that this one should not have gone on last. I think Brock's got like a magic contract where he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do. He makes a shit ton of money, and he kind of gets to tell them what he wants to do. Like, I think this was more of a Brock wanted to go on last because they were going to pay Brock for main event, so they had to put him on last. Again, I felt this was out of place. Again, another just out of place moment on SummerSlam. I think this match should have gone on. I think Rusev and Roman should have gone on much earlier, and I think Brock and Randy should have gone on before the Universal Championship, which should have been the main event. That's just how I restructure this thing. You put the WWE title, Brock versus Randy, and then the Universal Championship. That's just how, to me, that's how you go with this. This match was frustrating. This match was weird. This match was really, till the end, kind of boring. Randy was clearly sandbagging on the suplexes. He wasn't pushing off with his legs into the suplexes to take that work off Brock. He was making Brock legit suplex him. He was making him take his whole body weight, which obviously he has no problem doing, and really suplexing him. This one ends when Brock, I guess, had enough, took off the gloves, and got in and just beat the ever-living dog shit out of Randy. He went full MMA on him, and then the elbow to the head that busted Randy open profusely. I mean, there was a literal puddle of blood under his head. they cracked him open so bad. Now, a lot of people are saying that he possibly opened up an old wound, because if you remember, I think it was Money in the Bank, a couple years ago, Randy took a ladder to the head, and he got busted open pretty bad. Not as bad as he did at SummerSlam, but he had to have staples in his head around the same spot that Brock reopened with that elbow. So some people are saying that it was an accident, that Brock, threw the elbow, but he opened up an old wound, and that's what caused Randy to bust open like he did. Some people are saying that Brock went off script, and in kind of response to the Conor McGregor, WWE is fake, thing, that he wanted to show that WWE is just about fighting as UFC is, and kind of went off and knew Randy could take, the beating, and probably wouldn't mind taking the beating. But for me, I feel like it was planned that this was how this was supposed to end. Randy was not supposed to get busted open like that. So this finish felt really rushed. With the medical staff climbing in and declaring that Brock had won by TKO, because I think Randy actually got knocked out like the hard way. He got knocked out cold, so he couldn't compete. So they had to stop the match and declare Brock the winner. And this whole thing ends with Brock just walking up the ramp, and that was it. That was the end. So it felt very lackluster. Reportedly, there was an NXT chant at the end where the crowd was chanting for NXT. Crowd booed the finish. It was, from what I understand, people that were there, it was just a very awkward, very abrupt, and very uncomfortable finish. I think a lot of people were expecting Goldberg, because he reportedly was there. And a lot of people were expecting Goldberg to come out and a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people were expecting Goldberg to come out and possibly set up the Brock versus Goldberg at Mania, which I still think is the plan. I think is what they're going to go with. But I think once Randy got busted open the way he did, they had to kind of call an audible and maybe not have it happen just yet. So who knows when and if Goldberg will come back, and when and if they'll actually do the WrestleMania program with Brock. I kind of hope they do, because I think many people kind of want to see that, especially, given the first time Goldberg and Brock fought each other at WrestleMania. It didn't go so well, so I think people are wanting to see these two. I think give them another chance and really see if they can really put on a great match, which I think they can. So, but that is your SummerSlam recap. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to the show as much as I had recording it. If you do enjoy the show, I'm actually setting us up. There is a Facebook page now, Ruffin Wrestling Show on Facebook. You can go like that. If you have not subscribed to the show, you can do so on iTunes and Google Play. Also on YouTube, where you can find the show. Not video, just audio though. So, gonna do some videos soon. Eventually, you just gotta find the time. That's what it is. Gotta find the time and gotta find the topic. Gotta have a reason. I'm not just gonna do the video just to do it. So, hopefully we'll get some video up soon. But again, you can subscribe on iTunes and Google Play. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll be back later this week to talk about Raw and SmackDown. But until then, see you guys next time. Peace.